Are you there, Christina, or have you gone away? Well, there are two of us.
That's a good sign.
Yep. The last meeting, it took me like 10 minutes to get in, so I decided to get in early. Kept messing with me.
Be interesting to see how many of the ratepayers actually participate.
I know. Probably none. They didn't last time.
No.
Fine with me. I'm not sure how many people are even seeing the ads now. Of course, they wouldn't look in the paper either. But. Have you gone south yet? Or are you still here?
I'm still here.
Okay.
And we're
Yep.
every day we talk about the timing of that trip, and we canceled Thanksgiving plans, so now we'll have to discuss Christmas.
Yeah, I know. We were going to go up to our son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter in Glastonbury, but then I guess the last week, one of their staff members in daycare was exposed to somebody that had COVID. So just to be on the safe side, we're not going.
Yeah.
I would take a chance. We're going to go see them maybe Sunday, because that will have been 2 weeks, and they will know. But yeah, we're not having big family gatherings. Here come Jim. Here comes Sharon.
Right?
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, Jim. I'll find my right set of minutes here now.
Looks like Tom is not completely faded into the sunset yet.
Yeah, you're right. No, that was Terry.
There he is.
Oh, Austin, I got a background now. That's a sunset. That's a sunset from a cruise ship balcony where I really want to be right now.
Oh, nice. Did we get a separate agenda for the public hearing?
I didn't see one, Stan.
Yes, we did.
Was there?
Yep, it was on the both. She sent both of them out simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
But it's just public hearing.
Oh, yeah, I see it now. Is Ed going to be here tonight?
Supposed to be, as far as I know.
Uh-oh.
Guess we're gonna start late.
Apparently.
Saw him this afternoon, and I made a point of mentioning that I'd talk with you tonight, so he had a reminder anyway.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Yeah, here it comes.
Right on time.
Okay. We have everybody here? Tony, you set up?
I'm ready to go. It looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us at this point.
Anybody from the public?
6. I see Jim here.
The 2 people from the public.
Okay, good.
Let me count. 1, 2, 3.
Eric Treaster and Damon Logan are the public.
Okay, so,
We don't have to have a quorum for a public hearing.
no, you don't have to have a public.
No.
No.
But I just want to, whoops. I just want to see who's here. I need it for the notes.
All right, so let me know when you're ready and I'll call it to order.
All right, just give me like 30 seconds.
That's fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to call the Water Pollution Control Authority public hearing water sewer rate increase meeting to order. It is 6:32 on November 24th, 2020. The procedure will be, as all public hearings, is that as we call the public hearing, we'll make a presentation as to why we're proposing this rate increase. And after the presentation, we will open up the public, we'll open up comments from the public. And listen to either for or against or neutral. And then after that, any questions the commissioners may have or any comments. And then I will, no further comments, I will then close the public hearing. So the first thing I would like to do is share my desktop to show the presentation. There we go. I hope. All right. Does everybody see it?
Yes.
Good. So we're proposing an overall rate increase of 3.5%. Now, why is that? Groton Utilities, as I believe on the 1st of October, has got approval to raise their raw water rates 5%. That 5% is water that's delivered to other utilities, including Ledyard. The budget impact for our present water purchase, and this is based on budgeted numbers of $445,000 a year of raw water purchase. That 5% is about $22,500 a year. Now, the increase request is a result of Groton Utilities upgrading their water treatment plant of $180 million to the state-of-the-art treatment of clean water. The old technology was about 80 years old. Now, there are additional budget impacts. It's not just the water increase. The state has mandated leak tests that we must do. Now, I believe it's every 3 years. This was an item that we did not budget for. and ends up being they check the entire Ledyard water system, and that generally runs around $9,000. So we need to budget about $3,000 a year for that. We also renegotiated the service contract that Groton Utilities does, and that it resulted in an $8,000 increase. Now, if you look at that increase, it was mostly due to increased postage, mailing, and stationery cost. We're not all electronic. Our customers are not all electronic, and that does cost money. So that is another challenge. So that resulted in about an $8,000 a year increase that we could not absorb. Now for sewer, we're passing this 3.5% to sewer because right now one of our operators was under their parents' health care. And obviously he's turned over 26, so therefore we have to pay for that. There's also the fact that they've all, both our operators are going very accelerated in their training and have gone into class 3 status. So there's a salary increase. And we also have some electrical costs. So this all results in about a $12,000 annual increase in the sewer budget. So there's the impact. Raw water increase of $22,250, leak test $3,000, service contract $8,000. So it's a total of about $33,000, $33,250, or based on our budgeted number, about a 3.5% increase. And the total impact of sewer is about 3.3%. We're going to round it up to 3.5%. The last increase was 2018, so it's almost going to be almost 3 years ago when we get into 2021. That was a 5% increase. Now, the impact to our customers of 3.5% is about $1 a month. The impact of the sewer is about $1.41 a month, or a combined total, if you got both sewer and water, $2.42 a month. Now, for businesses, the average water is about $4 a month, and for sewer is $5 a month. So a combined increase for $9.61 a month. So this is the rate table. That's what has been published. The only thing in yellow is that we've never published the old minimum and old maximum sewer rate. And I thought I would actually put that. I don't know why we never did that, but I thought I'd put that in there also, just as a comparison between the old and the new. The sewer rate factor hasn't changed. So I'll leave this up here. So that's the reason, that's the impact. And I'll entertain any comments from the public. Go ahead and unmute and state your name and your address. I don't hear any comments.
This is Eric Treaster. I'd like to address the commission.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. Rate increases are always sort of sad but necessary. I own a 3-bedroom rental home in the Highlands, which is occupied by a young family with 3 children, and they're having a hard time paying their water and sewer bills. And like most people, I would like to see those bills as low as possible. A couple of technical issues. Page 4 of your presentation shows the $3,000 increase for leak detection costs.
Yeah.
However, section 4C of the attachment to the operations contract shows that testing for leakage during low usage periods with sonic testing apparatus every 2 years. And I don't know if that's the same leak detection that's on the PowerPoint presentation, but if it is, then there's a duplication, and that $3,000 should not be included as part of the rationale for the increase in cost that needs to be covered by the rate increase.
Yeah, that 4C is not that what you see. This is something that's mandated by the state for the entire system. Not sure that's something specific, but we're talking about even the 16-inch lines. where we found actually a pretty significant leak this year in.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're not double dipping into that. That section 4C looks like it covers everything.
Are you talking about the budget?
I'm talking about the attachment to the operations contract that you signed in, I think it became effective July 1st of 2017 and is still in force.
Yeah, that. Well, I'm going to have to get a clarification on that, but that's not part of that's part of operations, but not part of the state mandate. So I'll have to get a verification of what that particular 4C is.
Yeah, it's worth checking.
Right.
And it's not clear. Admittedly, it's not crystal clear. But it's 4C in the attachment.
Okay.
So that's a minor thing. I understand that water has to be treated to make it safe, and that the infrastructure to acquire, treat, and deliver the water is expensive to build and maintain. And I know that Groton Utilities is a profit-making entity and entitled to a reasonable profit. However, these costs were presumably considered by the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. And whatever happens, Ledyard will have to live with that 5% increase in water rates. I do not know if the WPCA is entitled to make a profit.
No.
Are you entitled to make a profit?
No.
Excellent. That's good news. Okay. I also was unable to find out if there's any surplus in the account. And the reason I'm asking that question is, if there is a surplus, perhaps it could be used to have a 1 3/4% increase now and 1 3/4% increase in, say, 6 months, to spread the increase out. Rather than having one big one, we could have 2 small ones, or maybe 3 small ones, if there's a surplus in the budget to account for that.
Well, I should point out to you that we actually have, unfortunately, 3 5% increases in the next 3 years.
Oh my!
And so so traditionally what we've done, Eric, is raise it by 15%, or not 15%, but let's say 10.5% to cover that. Under guidance of the Town Council Finance Group, that Bill Soms is headed, we decided not to do that. We're doing exactly what you're saying. We're trying to minimize that impact.
Okay.
So we could do it by 1 3/4, but it would be almost, we'd have to do this, 6 times. And public hearings do become expensive when you have to put it in the paper and what have you. But you're right. We could do that. We're trying to minimize this impact.
Yeah. You might be able to do it with just one public hearing and project the increase spread out. Even this particular public hearing doesn't specify the actual start date, so you could probably put that into your decision making process. Just an idea.
Yeah.
Those are my comments on the rate increase. Would it be all right if I addressed you on the rate structure, or would you prefer that I not do that? It'll take about 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, go ahead, because I don't think the rate structure is not something we were talking about. It's just the rate increase. But sure, let's hear your comment on the rate structure.
Okay, thank you.
Before you start, Eric, would you give me your address, please, for the minutes? I need to get that, and give me a second because I have to switch back and forth between screens.
Sure, thank you.
Go ahead. 1 second here. Go ahead.
Okay, Eric Tree Street, 10 Huntington Way.
Huntington Way?
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second. All right, thank you, sir. Fire away.
I'm a strong believer in fairness to the taxpayers and the residents wherever possible, and I believe that all residents should be treated in a fair and uniform manner. And I'm concerned that the rate structure, together with the 3.5% fee increase, is fundamentally not fair. The existing rate structure results in water costing more per gallon for a large family than the water cost per gallon is for a small family, which in my opinion is fundamentally unfair. In addition, if the water consumed by apartment complexes such as Fox Run is being billed at commercial rates, which I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that Fox Runs is a commercial property. If Fox Runs is being billed at commercial rates, then it is also unfair that the water costs per gallon consumed by people who live in apartments is more than the cost per gallon for water consumed by people who live in single-family homes. So that's one of my concerns. My other concern is that because the water is so much more expensive for commercial, that it will discourage new commercial ventures in Ledyard. And without new commercial ventures, Ledyard's tax base will remain stagnant. The rate structure plus a 3.5% increase in water rates may, in the long run, cost more in lost tax revenue than it will gain in increased revenue. So it's just something to think about. I don't like the rate structure. In my opinion, the fee structure should be revised so that everyone pays the same amount per gallon. A uniform cost per gallon is fair for all residents, will not discourage new commercial uses, but will be sufficient to continue to encourage conservation. And perhaps either today or in the future, you can discuss the fairness of the rate structure. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Going once? Going
Mr.
twice?
Chair, this is Bill Tom.
Go ahead, Bill.
Mr. Chair. I know that we have other citizens here, so I'd like to give them an opportunity to speak, but I also would like to respond to Mr. Treaster.
Okay, so I didn't quite get that, Bill. You were kind of garbled. What is it you wanted?
Let me say it again. I'm sorry for that. I'm not sure what the sound problem is. I would like to respond to Mr. Treaster, but I know we also have other residents and ratepayers participating. I'd like to give them a chance to speak first.
Yeah, I thought I was clear on that. I'm trying to open it up to others. Does anybody else have any comments besides Eric? I don't hear any, Bill. Do you?
No.
All right. So I want to give the commissioners a chance to speak on this. Eric brings up some points that, this rate structure has been based on, I believe, what is the industry standard, what Groton Utilities does too. We do discourage, we do charge more to encourage conservation. That is true. And the commercial rates, we do give a break that goes up to 10,000 gallons at a fixed cost. But, again, the struggle we have, Eric, on this is that we have minimum cost, even if we don't sell a gallon of water. And that minimum cost is significant. It's 2/3 of running the WPCA. The raw water only accounts for 1/3 of the cost. So you're right. It kind of penalizes families that are large, that use a large amount of water. Now, I would think that 3,333 gallons a month, I believe that's based on a family of 4. So, if you have a family of 6, you're going to use a little bit more water than that. And the impact is slight. It goes from $0.8967 dollars per 100 gallons to like 0.94. So we're talking probably 5 cents, 5-6 cents a gallon more. The experience I've seen is that I don't see a family of 6 consuming more than 6,000 gallons a month. If they are, they got a leaky toilet. That's quite a bit of water, unless you're watering your lawn. So there is an impact. It is something that the Department of Health has wanted us, is always encouraged us to do a rate structure that would conserve water. So that's kind of the balance we try to do on this. But it's certainly open for discussion.
One possibility. I noticed that Groton has their standard fee, their minimum fee
Right.
is about half of what Ledyard is charging for this minimum fee, and then they charge more per gallon. I'm sorry, they go by cubic feet, but they charge more per unit of water than that Ledyard charges for its unit of water. But they have a lower standard fee, and I was thinking that maybe the mathematics could be done so that the fixed costs can be covered by the minimum fee for everybody, and then once the fixed costs have been covered by the minimum fee, then kick into a per gallon rate. It's just something to think about. So
We actually looked at that, and unfortunately, it brings the minimum cost up to about $45 a month. So you're right. We actually toyed with that, and I guess we got nervous.
that's I can understand that. So
we got extremely nervous, and we kind of backed off and said, the widow who only has herself in the house is already complaining with the $28 a month. We started going into $45 a month. I thought, well, you're going to hear a lot of people howling. But yeah, this is what we're up against. You're right. You put your finger right on it. How do we do this? It's a struggle. We don't have a magic wand. We can't. It becomes a challenge.
Do we charge more for water for our apartments charge commercial rates or residential rates?
Yeah, the apartments are charged commercial rates.
Yep.
They're charging. I don't know how.
There may not be individual metering.
There is no individual metering.
So
Right.
that's another issue. I think that many of us have wanted to explore other rate structures, and I'd invite Eric to attend meetings with us and debate this. But we're off the point of the public hearing for tonight, and we only have a couple minutes left. So I'd like to get back to the rate change.
Correct. I mean, Eric did mention that. He did say that the rate structure was. We're really we really weren't opening it up. Well, we'll discuss it, but we're more concerned about the 3.5%. Do the commissioners have any other comments? Bill, do you have any additional?
I do, but commissioners first.
I don't hear any. Nobody's raising their hand. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, so Mr. Treaster asked if the WPCA has a surplus, and I just wanted to respond that for years and years, the WPCA operated at a bare minimum and returned no surplus, and also set aside no funds for maintenance of the system and the infrastructure. And correct me if I'm wrong, I know I'm right about the first part. The WPCA does set aside money for maintenance of the infrastructure now. It's much better health financially, much more prudent use of resources and funding. But I believe that any surplus goes into catching up on the sinking fund, which is to replace infrastructure as it ages. So there is not an opportunity to use the surplus for reducing the rate, because that's what the WPCA was doing 10 years ago. They were not passing along cost increases from Groton Utilities, and they tried to help hold the rates low, and they got in significant, substantial financial difficulty as a result.
Right, Bill, and we may sometimes have a surplus, Eric, but that goes into the capital sinking fund. We have, actually harrowing expenses in the future. I mean, it's going to cost probably $1 million to paint that tank, and if we don't put that money away, you're going to make the town taxpayers, not the water people, not the water customers, pay for that. So we're, any surplus, and we may get, there may be a banner year because of a drought. More people are using water. The more water they use, we do get a surplus. But then we have years where it's very wet and nobody's using water. Now we run a deficit. So it's really seasonal. We go up and down. We don't have a very constant assured inflow of money. We don't know what the money's going to be from year to year. So it's been a challenge to put any surplus to a rate increase. That's been my thinking anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting close to, if there's no other comments and no other objections, I'd like to close the public hearing and give Tony at least 5 minutes to work his way into the regular meeting. So we'll have a pause. Don't leave Zoom because it's going to be the same Zoom. We're going to pause for 5 minutes for the regular meeting. Just hang on, okay? And we'll start up in 5 minutes.
Bill, do we technically need to adjourn this meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so you moved it and Stan seconded it. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So those in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none. It's unanimous. Thank you. All right. So we'll pause until Tony tells me he's ready for the regular meeting. Thank you. I'll stop sharing my. What a disaster. All right, guys, I'm going to pause for a minute. Thanks, guys. I'm not going to do the regular meeting. You know, I just misplaced that part. Upstairs. Then I saw world. Yes. Destroy my computer. I know. Just show it to you guys.
Ed, come back and mute your mic. And unshare your screen.
Yeah, all right. Just upset that I can't find it. It'll take me a while to get. I can't believe I didn't put it in a good place. Here. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, whenever Ed's back, I'm ready to go.
All right, we ready?
You need to unshare your screen.
Okay. Yeah, let me share the
It's not 7 o'clock yet.
yeah, I'm not going to call the order until I see what am I sharing? Let me stop. What am I? I'm going to find where I am. Oh, here we go. Okay. I don't have 7 o'clock yet either. It's 6:59.
Tony, do you need to have call-in user 3 for your minutes?
I hope that's Ray.
That's Jim Ball, maybe.
Jim Ball.
Yeah, I keep losing audio.
And I think I have him already.
Right, but I logged in. I'm trying to log back in again.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out who's. All right, we have Jeremy. Oh, Ray's on the line too. We also have call-in user 4. Who's that? All right, well,
And maybe Jim's trying to get back in.
I see Jim. Well, maybe not. You're right. But I have a caller user 3 and a caller user 4, so I don't know. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I'm one of those two, Mr. Jim Ball.
All right.
I'm trying to get back in. It keeps dropping my audio.
Yeah, I don't see Manir.
Now, Manir wasn't here for the first one, and Jim may actually be showing up under two different
Okay.
callers.
All right, so let me call the regular meeting of the Ledger Water Pollution Control Authority to order. It's a Zoom meeting. Let me do a roll call. Chairman Ed Lynch, our recording secretary Tony Capone, Terry Jones, Jeremy Norris, Sharon Wadecki, Stan Huber. I believe Jim Ball is on there, our town council representative, William Solms, and we have Ray Valentini. Okay, so
And Jim is appointed as the voting member.
yes, Jim Ball will be a voting member. Jim for Manir Tufik, who's absent. I don't know why. He didn't send me an email, so I don't have that. Okay, so the first order of business, of course, is are there any residents or property owners out there that would like to speak on anything? I don't, does anybody hear anything? I don't hear anything. That doesn't mean it's, okay, hearing none, let's go on to the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes for October 27th,
I'm on-
2020. Yes, so moved. All right. So I hear a second. Are there any omissions, corrections, additions?
Yeah, this is Terry. I think I had a couple of corrections, but now I've got to get my copy open to find them.
Yeah, I'm sharing it right now. Can you see it?
Not big enough.
Oh, it's not big enough. Why is that? What am I doing wrong?
No, I mean, it's just,
Can you,
Tiny.
wait a minute. Let me see. Can I make it bigger? Does that help?
yep,
Yeah.
that does help.
Oh, I don't know. Now it cuts it.
Now. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. How's that? That help?
Yeah, I can read it now, but I can't scroll it. You'll have to
Well,
scroll it.
I'll scroll it. So I'm on communication correspondence. Operation report. We have aged reports finance. Now we have the SWA, which I will talk about in a minute in our operations.
Oh, that was one of them. Under SQA October report, I think we need a couple more words. There was a pressure reducing valve at Gray Farms Division installed, right?
Yeah, installed. I'm assuming. Yeah, you're right. This is the reason this isn't on for old business is because there's still some information we need on this. And I'll talk about it when we get on the operations report.
We'll just insert the word installed, I think there.
Okay, you got that, Tony? Or do you want me to do that?
Yeah, you can do that. And what I'm doing with the minutes is just noting that we're making editorial revisions as opposed to.
Let me make a comment because, all right, installed.
Yep.
All right, anything else?
Yeah, second line under old business, I think DU should be GU.
Oh, yes. right? Correct. Good catch. Do you? Yeah, I will make that correction. Anything else?
I think that was it.
All right.
Yeah, unless they're substantive, I just note that they're editorial revisions.
Yeah, I'll tell Christina exactly what. All right, hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes of the 27th of October 2020 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, unanimous. Thank you. All right, the operations report. It's pretty mundane, other than the copper lead thing. Ray, did you find anything out about what SCORE actually did?
They haven't done anything yet. What they're waiting for is DPH approval. I contacted one of the people up there, and what they want to do is they're talking about rebuilding Gray Farm. They have to put a new tank inside, and they also have to do one at a lot of their stations. So they're looking for that now, but nobody knows. There's no time frame on it, how much they're going to use. So what they're going to do is when they take Gray Farm out, why they put the pressure reducing valve in, is to run the station off by the school, that station there, that pump house, and that's going to feed the whole area. That was one of the connections we did, and what they can do is turn on the water at off of Colonial, it's 117 off of that area there to run that too if they want to turn both stations off, which I think they're going to do.
So they're doing this because they have to make repairs, or they're waiting to get approval for low interest bonds to upgrade the system, I guess.
They haven't mentioned that. Right now they put it under repairs for the DPH to approve, but they're also, I saw the report that they're looking for the bonds. They were hoping DPH gave them some money. So,
yeah, and as far as I know, at least from Mike Cherry, that was denied.
Right. So when I was talking to the state, I told them that they haven't contacted Ledger about how long or what they really want to do, and I know they sent it down to SCORE, the questions. And I haven't received any answers, so obviously I guess you guys didn't either.
Yeah. So, Bill, your comments that we need to make with SCORE, with the DPH is, I don't know, do you think it's premature? We don't really know. We don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, so I think the main point is, the question was, did they communicate with DPH? Because the interconnection was the DPH's project, and if they're using the interconnection for a different purpose, I just think they ought to be communicating with DPH on what they're doing. So, sounds like there's been some communication, and now we're waiting for answers. So that's good.
Okay. Right. That's why we'll just let that go. It's fine. Are there any other questions for Ray?
I want to ask Ray how they're coming with that Gales Ferry tank.
That is an old business. We will discuss that when we get down to it, okay? You're talking about the Gallup Hill tank, right? What tank are you talking about?
The one that's in their report. They have finalized plans for something in Gales Ferry.
Yeah, that's the tank that haven't taken down. It's not supposed to be Gales Ferry. I see that, but we're waiting. That's Gales Ferry tank, which is, I think that's what's called on the old tank that you had. We made the plans. We sent it up to I think you guys are supposed to review it according to the planner.
Right. We haven't received it yet. That's the Gallup Hill tank.
Right.
I've been told I've sicked Steve Banks on Liz because she is just very straight out busy. So we just haven't gotten it yet. She hasn't published it for us to review. So we're waiting for her. I don't know what we're waiting for, but it's just time, I guess.
Because
I
if
think
if you want, I can
it's
send
not
it
the
up
Gales
to you.
Ferry tank, it's the Gallup Hill tank.
Gallup Hill. Yeah, it's not Gales Ferry, it's Gallup Hill, but I got that one.
Yeah, you know what, Ray, you can send it up to us. It's just, that might expedite a little bit of what's going on. Because what Liz has to do, it's part of her job, I guess, is that once the WPCA is happy with it, then she's going to go out for bid. So, that's all we're doing is going to review it, make sure, well, I don't know what we'll make sure, but to show the I's and the T's are crossed. Our collective wisdom and certainly a request for a quote. Okay. Agent reports. This is always scary.
Yeah, the September and October numbers are exactly the same. I think there's an error there.
Yeah, I saw that too. I'm gonna have to write a note here. I've got to, I gotta send a note to Tina. I don't know whether that came from Tina or whether that came from our finance. It's supposed to come through. It comes through in finance. Although, if you take a look at the bottom there, it says cash collected in the month of October was 152,126.95. So that 158,406 is incorrect. It should be 152,126.95. I don't know. Can you see that? Do I need to expand that so you can see it?
Well, no, that number on the right-hand side, isn't that the sum of the data that is to the left? It's the money that's still outstanding.
No, you're right. I think that's the money outstanding, and the other one is what we received. That's correct.
Right. But September and October can't be identical. So one of those is
Yeah, if you look at the 31 to 60, they're all the same numbers. Yeah. There's something wrong there. Again, I'll have to go with Ian on that one. Okay. I'm not sure. They published this. Well, all right. We'll fix that. Well, the only thing if you look at some of the collections are coming up. But this does bring a question. I just got an email from Tina, and she says, Ed, I think we should start charging for late fees in December. I have not responded to that. She wants my thoughts. I don't know what you think.
These are for people that haven't requested a deferment or don't have a payment plan.
That I have to verify. It could be. Yeah, we've asked for a payment plan. We're not, but I'll tell you what, Stan, we also said we were suspending all fees, all penalty fees. So whether they had a payment plan or whatever, we told her not to file for penalties, for fees.
Yeah, but we didn't decide to do that forever.
No, we didn't.
So that I think Tina's just raising the question,
Correct.
is it time to start charging or not? And I say, no, it's still too soon.
I tend to agree.
I agree too, especially since the governor may be putting us back a phase soon, especially after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see an incentive for people to have worked out the payment plan, though. I mean, I think from what I gather is that we have people who are in arrears but have not taken advantage of our goodwill and set up a payment plan, without paying interest.
Yeah, I mean, no. There's been no. What happens is there's been no communication. I mean that.
I'm against that. I'm against not charging a late fee if people haven't even made the effort to request a deferment. If they're just not paying their bill.
Right, and I agree with there should be some kind of penalty. But we had agreed to not charge late fees if people had made payment agreements. And I think
Correct.
it's too soon
Yeah.
now to change that, but we do need to deal with those people who haven't made any arrangements and aren't paying.
Right.
So
So,
can I ask a question?
yeah, go ahead.
So would it be possible if people entered a payment plan to not assess late fees, and then if people didn't enter a payment plan, they would then be charged the fees? And could we communicate that to the customers, and maybe that would be an incentive to start a payment plan?
Maybe we could send that out in the next bill.
Yeah, I think in the first of the year, we should plan on doing that.
Yeah, well, that's if you send it out in the next bill, it wouldn't happen till the first of the year.
First
But
of the year.
it might get people who aren't contacting us to contact us. I mean, I agree with Jeremy that we should charge for people who aren't they should be paying interest. If they're not going to make that step, that phone call, that email or whatever, the letter, they should be charged.
Okay. I think it's a good idea if the rest of the commissioners think it's a good idea. I mean, because I can't tell. You're looking at I have to go. So look, if you look at the over 120, let's see, May, you're seeing it slightly increase and then it's leveling out. I'm not sure what those or the dollars would be. It's not a lot of money, guys. It's like only $9,000, but still. See, it was 6,000. It went up to 7. Now it went up to 10,000 in August, but now it dropped 1,000.
But there's still quite a bit of money in arrears in all of them. And once somebody's past 30 days, they're supposed to be talking to us about
Right.
something. And there's quite a bit there when you go from 31 to 60 over to 120.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a few houses. Okay.
And if they go too long without in arrears, without a good reason, they may dig themselves a hole that they have a difficult time paying that bill all at once.
Right. You know, that's why we were looking at payment plans. But eventually, Stan, as you realize, what eventually happens is they can't pay it and then a lien is put on their property.
Right, but if we're not asking for excuses, people who can pay might just not be paying because they're, why pay your bill if you don't have to?
You have to pay, right.
But
Right.
then all of a sudden you have to pay for a year's worth of water all at once. That kind of hurts, and they might not be able to pay that.
Right, and we can't operate on liens. I mean, liens are all well and good, but it doesn't help our current year.
Oh, no, we'd be in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be able to pay the bill. It'd be tough to pay the bill on liens. That's right. Okay, so it's not too complicated. It's just simply that people are going to be asked to, if they haven't made a payment plan, to make a payment plan. If they don't make a payment plan after the 1st of January, they will have to pay fees.
Sounds good.
It sounds about as straightforward as we can make it. Okay. All right. Let's go to budget. This early in the game, I don't see anything. I don't see anything that's concerning because you really don't. Let's look at let's shift by the electrical. We have budgeted 35,000. We have available 10. But electrical looks always sketchy. I don't see anything. Yes. Is there any? You want me to stop somewhere? No. All right. Water. water, I'm assuming with all the water that we're getting, nobody's watering anymore. So I don't think the raw water is going to be that high. Let's see. Yeah, here the actual is, looks like it's pretty much spot on. All right. And then to Steve's report. All right. So let me just explain what's going on, because these are going to be some votes we're going to be doing later in the meeting. As you know, sand is put in the absorption beds to protect the beds, the soil underneath, from plugging. So you'd rather have this sacrificial sand plug than the ground underneath, because then you'd be digging a big hole. So over the years, what they do is they grade that. Once it dries out, they kind of get rid of the weeds and try and clean it up and get some of the stuff that the sand has been filtering. But eventually you run out of sand. I mean, you pushed it all off to the top. So that has to be replaced. The biggest cost for sand is transportation. So they found a big sand pit, which wouldn't surprise anyone in Westerly, down by the beach. And it has to be the right sand. If it's too fine, it'll plug. If it's too coarse, the water will percolate too fast. So it really has to be the right sand. And they found the right sand. So it's close by. So we can save quite a bit of money on transportation. There's another thing, is switching to LED lighting. We'll talk about that in the new business, but basically you're going to save a boatload of electrical cost by going to LED. And then Eversource would give Ledyard, the town of Ledyard, I think a $5,000 grant to purchase them. So it reduces the cost significantly. Just some other activities. Okay. Oh yeah, and we did have a meeting regarding Ledyard Center development, which I think is it should be, is it? Yes, it's in old business. All right, so let's go to old business. Removal of the Gallup tank bunker. You probably already heard from Ray. We don't have the request, the details, so maybe Ray sends it to us. We'll be able to pre-review it for Liz. If we have any comments, please indicate, and then we'll consolidate the comments and send it to Liz. There is a meeting. I had a meeting with the engineering group that's doing the request for quote. So let me try to explain this. We're actually paying some upfront money to actually put together the request for quote. This is putting the quote together, and it's with Pierce. Let me see, who is it? It's with Wright and Pierce. We met with them, and we have asked for options. So we're looking at various scopes. There was a misunderstanding. I thought it was just simply Ledyard Center on the east side of 117. And we said, no, we'd like to include all of 117 Ledyard Center. We may not include it in the first phase, but at least get a cost estimate for the whole project. We are going to have a meeting, I believe. Let me look at the calendar. It's December in the mayor's office. Where's my calendar? I believe it's December 8th. We're going to have a meeting with Wright and Pierce, the engineering group, with Steve and myself, and with Peter Gardner. We're having an outside contractor come in and sit down, and we're going to look at this thing. And once we're agreed, then we'll submit this request for quote. And of course, what we're quoting is for a design study. And what is it going to cost to do various options and phases for Ledyard Center for waste treatment? I don't have any other business. Is there any questions out there? What just went by? Okay. Okay, now we go to new business. Now, Tony, you didn't like this motion, and I agree. I want to get to your wording. The motion as it's played up has the word approved. It's not really approved yet.
It's got to be approved.
Approve. And there was one other recommendation you had.
Yeah, I didn't like, let me find the motion here. I've got to jump back to my agenda. It's hard to read.
All right, let me see if I know if I can expand.
Yeah,
this.
what I did not like is where it says, motion to recommend town council should be approved. I noted that a water rate increase, et cetera, to become effective January 1st, 2021, depending on town council vote. We're recommending the rate increase as of January 1st, 2021.
You don't need that.
We're not recommending it conditionally. Town council is going to be the one that's going to act on it. So I wanted that taken out.
Yep. Okay.
And then the other technical one, it's hard to see, but at the end of that, so you want to take out the thing about depending on town council vote, because we're not recommending it depending on town council vote. We're recommending it to town council.
Yeah,
They're going to then decide what to do.
yeah. I think that was a side note. I don't know how that got in there, to be honest. Yeah. Okay. I agree.
And that comes out, and then at the end of that phrase, someplace there's a semicolon. It should be a comma. That's just a really technical thing.
Correct. Yeah, so you don't have any problem with as recommended and contained in the water and sewer rate table attached.
Yeah, no. Let me go back to my minutes now because I need to correct that. So just give me a second here to do that.
Yeah.
And I'll read what I think the motion is, so everybody can agree. Hold on, I'm just doing a little editing here. All right, so it's going to read, if everybody wants to go with this, motion to recommend the town council approve. I need to correct that in the motion. Water rate increase of 3.5% and a sewer rate increase of 3.5% effective January 1st, 2021, as recommended and contained in the water and sewer rate table attached to the WPCA letter dated 11/10/20 in accordance with ordinance, et cetera.
I don't think it's correct. I think the town council only sets the water rate.
That's true.
Okay, that's right.
The water increase.
So the sewer rate comes out of there as well.
Correct.
Yes. Correct. I don't know. That should be out too.
Yeah, because I saw later in the thing we recommend the sewer rate. We do.
So I had to actually, when Christina had this, I had to pull that out. I forgot to tell her to get rid of that. I told her that there had to be two motions. She had it all under one motion. So that should have been. Yeah,
and she has the second motion later.
Right. Correct.
All right, so now it reads, motion to recommend the town council approve a water rate increase of 3.5% effective January 1st, 2021, as recommended and contained in the water and sewer rate table attached to the WPCA letter dated 11/10/2020 in accordance with ordinance, an ordinance establishing water pollution control water authority.
Now I'll second.
Good.
Sound right?
Yeah, that's good. So that is the motion. Anyone want to second it?
I did.
Oh, you did. So are there any discussion?
Somebody else made it, but it's okay. All right,
Yeah, it's
hold on.
okay. Yeah, now what about the discussions? Any discussions? We've heard from the public. What this is hard during a pandemic. Believe me. You don't like doing rate increases, but I actually it should be noted that, as Ray will correct me here, but I think our October bill is going to have the new rate increase. Is that correct, Ray? I think we're already paying this.
It started October 1st.
Right. So we're already paying this rate, guys. It's already affecting the budget as we speak. And we're going to let it go October 1st, November and December. I know that Eric said, well, we need to do some budget stuff or some surplus. Well, we're already spending surplus. Okay, so we're spending whatever surplus we have just on these 3 months alone. So actually the ratepayer is getting sort of a break in a way, because we're not asking them to pay, we're not back retro this increase. So that's my only comment. Any others? Bill, do you have any concerns?
No, I think you have to do this. As I said, if you don't pass along a cost increase, you get in trouble down the road very quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's less than the Groton Utilities increase. I think it's reasonable. You've done your homework, and you have to do this.
Okay. All right. Any other further discussions before I ask for a vote? Anybody out there? No? All right. All those in favor of the motion to recommend the town signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none. All those abstain? Hearing none. It's unanimous. It's passed. Okay. On to the motion to approve payment, the DPH invoice in the amount of $2,565.64 for safe drinking water fee. Now, you know what this fee is, everyone. It's the DPH, and the state has allowed them to charge a small fee, and it's only for a couple of years. I think this is the last year, and this is not directly in our budget, so we have to actually approve it. By the way, this was not reflected in the rate increase. This is another cost that we're absorbing.
I thought we were passing it along to the ratepayers.
Oh, you're right.
As a very, very small 20 cents something on their bill.
That's right, Sheriff. You are correct. We are passing this on, this 20 cent per month. That's correct. I forgot. That's right. So that is being passed on. I stand corrected. All right. So is there any discussions on this? I really don't have any choice. Which, by the way, we've never resolved with Squaw. When we tie in with emergency, they don't pay this. They refuse to pay this. And I think when, Bill, when we're talking to the DPH, one of the things we're going to have to raise with them is, well, you know, when we connect emergency, they also need to pay this fee.
Mm-hmm.
Which they did not, the last time we did this, they did not pay. Which I think is
that they're not paying it.
right, and it's not fair to our ratepayers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it a per gallon fee?
No, it's a per connection fee.
Yeah.
So if you're connected, the way the state did it was if you're connected to city water, municipal water, they needed, this is a way to get around their budget. They needed additional personnel in the Department of Health. So they decided to put this fee. It's temporary, by the way. I don't know how they're going to pay their salaries after this, but you know,
Won't be temporary.
Yeah. When is anything like this temporary?
But when Squaw takes water from us for an emergency, how would you count the number of households? I mean, aren't we paying on the number of households we're actually billing water to?
Yeah, that's why it's a separate billing. That's why they know about it. So we bill for the water used, because that's what the meter is. We have one single meter, but then we get billed for the fact that they're tied in.
But are we billed for Squaw one tie-in or for all the people that Squaw is giving water to?
No, it's just one tie-in.
So it's not that big of a, we're not talking much money.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is. You brought up it's complicated to me because wouldn't Squaw have to charge that and pay that to the Department of Health too?
Yes, they should.
And so, the refusal to pay would be, no, we've already paid it. I mean, that's what I would have thought. So I don't know how that works. It's something, you know what? It's something I'll ask Mike Cherry. He's our rep there. Something we'll have to get straightened out. That fee. I'll communicate to Mike about that. Okay. Any other discussions on this? If not, all those in favor of paying the $2,565.04 for safe drinking water fee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none. Any abstentions? No. Okay. 5-0. Okay, now we go to the next motion. This is one that we're empowered to do. So I have the motion to approve an increase of 3.5% of the sewer rate to be effective at the same time the water rate is approved. I don't have to.
Second it, but wouldn't we put the January 1st date in there?
Yeah, I'm going to change the motion, make it a friendly amendment. Motion to approve the increase of 3.5% of the sewer rate to be effective at January 1st, 2021.
Second.
Okay.
I already seconded it.
Oh, sorry.
All right, good. Any other discussions on this? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approve? Yes.
Yeah, it may be unlikely, but what if the town council didn't approve the rate increase?
Well, if we approve this, then the sewer goes up and the water doesn't.
Right. So you've taken those words out about it being, you just gave the date and not when approved by the town council? Is that what you're doing?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what the minutes show.
Yeah, that's what will happen if the water doesn't get approved by the town council, but the sewer is already approved by us because that's our mandate. So that rate table would be changed to reflect an increase of 3.5% in the sewer.
But we need that rate increase as well.
Yes, we do. We got technically almost a $9,000 health bill now that this kid is off his parents' health. And that's going to be tough to pick up on the present budget. So, yeah, we would need it anyway. All right. Any other discussion on this? And hearing none, I'll ask for a vote for approving the motion to approve an increase in 3.5% of the sewer rate to be effective to be effective on 1st of January, 2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those
Aye.
opposed? I don't hear any opposed. Any abstentions? I don't hear any, so it's approved. Okay.
I have a quick follow-up question.
Sure.
We're doing a 3.5. We're expecting to do 3.5 for the water every year or for multiple years going forward. Is that true also, going to be true also for the sewer?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
No,
Not necessarily. They don't
Not necessarily.
They break that. Okay. Thanks.
yes. Yeah, that's a good question, Jim. And the water we're going to be faced with is because they're getting a 5% increase every year. I don't know. Ray, I have a question. Did you get approval to do that every year? Do you have to go back to the Pure to get approval for the next 5% increase?
Yeah, first of all, we don't go to Pure because of the municipality. We don't have to do that. But the the Groton Utilities Utility Commission, Council, and the Freeman, which are the people voted it in, it's for the next 3 years.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Jim. So that kind of answered your question. Yeah, there will be something we'll be doing next year for water at least.
Yeah, but we don't have it. But while we're linking them right now, they don't have to be linked with the sewer next year. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Correct. And it may not have to if these LED lights and other things kind of save us some money. You never know. Okay, the next item before we get to the last two motions has to do with the request to be able to drill a well on 150 Gallup Hill Road. Now, I did have some discussions with planning and zoning. The problem I'm having personally, because I had been on planning and zoning, is that they have an approved subdivision plan that shows water. I don't think there's any, if we were the wetland commission, I don't care what commission we are, we don't override plans, approved plans, subdivision plans. So there's no, and I'd be honest with you, I don't know how 148 got a well. That's something that I think planning and zoning has to investigate. But I did have this guy, I believe his name is Don. He did text me about whether he had to go to this meeting, and I said, "You're welcome to come." But I said, you need to get resolved with planning and zoning, your plan, your approved subdivision plan. It shows water. And, we don't take subdivision plans and then do waivers on them. That's right. I was trying to explain it to him. I think he was a little bit confused, but I said, you need to go to Liz in the planning planner and try and work with Nate Woody, the chairman, and try and work out what you have to do. And my understanding is like he's going to have to get a waiver.
Ed, I think the resident is with us. Is it Mr. Blodgett? We have a David Blodgett.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, there he is.
David, I'm sorry, not Don, it's David.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, well, thanks for certainly looking at this. And so basically what I've done is I went to the zoning department, and I'm a little concerned about the water line coming in, because the subdivision had put in a paved driveway that went through the conservation wetlands area, and they put a culvert underneath the driveway. And I didn't notice that when I put a bid in on this land. And when I found that out, I went to see Peter Gardner to talk to him about the site. And he said, that there's a water line for this. It's not a well. So I think the zoning department said you got to go to Ledge Light and ask them if you could put a well in, which I did. And they said the law says if you're within 200 feet of public water, you have to connect to public water. So, I kind of argued with them, because if you look at the subdivision, although my lot is within 200 feet of the public water, you can't come into the lot because of the wetlands. You cannot cross those wetlands. And if you look at the subdivision plan, it shows the water line going down the driveway. So really that water line, the path it takes, is not within 200 feet of the lot because of the path it takes. It's actually about 500 feet. So they said, well, that we agree with that, but it's a state law. So you have to fill out what you can see. There's an application well permit exception. They said I'd have to fill that out, which I did. I sent it to the Groton Water Authority, because there's a section in there, Public Water Authority, and they're the ones that have presented it to your group. I did not realize it was going to go to this committee. I was just waiting to get that back from Groton. I would then send it to Ledge Light. They would fill out their part, and then they would send the application to the state.
Yeah. So, okay. A couple of things. Ledge Light is incorrect. The regulation in Ledger is 1,000 feet, not 200. So that is not our regulation. It's planning and zoning's regulation. It's the town's regulation that if you're within 1,000 feet. Here's the other problem we have. Your plan had to be approved by the Wetland Commission. You can't get a subdivision plan even to the planning and zoning without wetlands. Wetlands has that plan in their files as a water line going across wetlands. So they already approved that. That's already approved to put a water line in there.
Right, down that shared driveway, not through my lot, through that shared driveway.
That's correct. And if I look at that plot very carefully, I finally got one I could read. That line in only one place, and it doesn't have to be there, is really on the side of the driveway. It's not under the driveway. It's actually
well, the wetlands comes up to the driveway on both sides, and there's a culvert underneath it. So you'd have to dig up the driveway, dig up the culvert to put that line underneath the culvert.
Right. Yeah. Unless you borrow it in there. Right. They do have rigs that can actually go underneath without having to dig it up. But
Okay.
but I so the dilemma we have, I'm not really sure. And then the final thing is that we already know Lori, who's the commissioner of the Department of Health, is very reluctant to approve waivers for wells if you're near water. So even if we went through all this thing, there's no assurances that the state will approve that.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, this is just one step along the way.
Right. I mean,
And I guess, my other argument is there's a precedent set. 142, which is no different than 150, has a well. And I attached the well approval. And I talked to Ledgelight. They have no idea other than it was just approved. There's no notes or anything that says why it was approved, but that lot was approved. There's already a precedent set to have a well in this subdivision. And 146 also has a well. I believe that house was probably there before the subdivision was developed. So
yeah, I think you're right.
That might have been a pre subdivision. But 142 has a well.
Right. And I asked the question of planning and zoning, how they got approved for the well, and they couldn't answer me either. As a matter of fact, the Mylars that are submitted as built are incorrect. You got a well instead of a water line. So, this is like, this is to me, I mean, I don't know how the other commissions feel about it, but we're just a utility here. We don't, this is a lot of planning and zoning issues, not utilities.
That application, I mean, I think at this point, we're just trying to get the application in, right? And that application went to the Groton Water Authority, and I'm not sure why, but they brought it to you guys. So I guess they're looking for your yes or no on it. I don't really know what they're looking for.
Yeah. I was trying to explain that to you. They work for us.
Yeah.
We're the contractor. We're the guys that have to deal with it. They just do they're the experts on water, but they actually work for us.
Oh, okay.
So
then that well permit exception, the section that the public water system is supposed to fill out, is that something that your group is not willing to fill out? Is that where we're at? I mean,
no, I don't know. Yeah, my problem is I don't know. I'm going to have to go to planning and zoning and get some advice. I don't know. Usually this is pretty clear cut. Usually when you get an exception, it's because you're thousands of feet away. You're not violating a reg. But right now, when I went to planning and zoning, they clearly told me that you're within 1,000 feet. They weren't even interested in the 200 and 500 feet.
Yeah, I don't know where that number came from. The Ledgelight told me 200 feet, so that's what I was going on.
Right. I mean, this is something I think I have to have a discussion with them. I need to find out what the best course of action is. I mean, we've had battles with, you believe it or not, there are regions of water that's served by different water companies, and that's usually what we battle. But we don't. This particular thing, this is kind of new to us. We don't usually run into this. So, in fairness to you, I know I hate this, but I need to get some guidance from the town. I can tell you what their preference is going to be. They're going to want you to tie in with water, and I can tell you what the Department of Health is going to want. They want you to tie in water. They don't like people digging wells. So, but given the circumstances, there might be a way to do this, as long as planning and zoning is aware of it. I hate us submitting this thing in, and I know they're going to ask the question. I know they're going to ask the question of planning and zoning. Did you guys see this? Did you approve this? If I submit it.
Now, who would planning and zoning? I had the guy I've been dealing with was Kyle.
No, this is Liz. So planning and zoning. This is Liz Burdick. She is the town employed planning and zoning director.
Okay, I've never spoken to her.
Yeah, you have to speak to her. She's in the planning and zoning bill. She's in the town hall.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I've been communicating to her. I've been saying, geez, Liz, I got this. And I asked her questions. I said, so one of the things I did, I tried to look at your plans. I don't even know how you can install a well on your property. There are restrictions on a well next to wetlands.
Yeah, the 100 feet.
Right. Oh, they've changed that. It's now less. No, I'm sorry. You're right. It is 100 feet. They changed it from 50 to 100. That's correct. And then there's the issue of 75 feet away from your septic system. So I noticed on the plan on your request for this well, I did not see where the well was going to be installed. There wasn't a well location.
Yeah, and I have met with Peter Gardner on it, and we've kind of figured out where we would put it, but we haven't come up with a formal plan yet. And the only reason we haven't is me purchasing the land. I have an approved, I put in a bid and they've accepted it with the contingency that I can put in a well. So I didn't want to spend the money with Peter. I first wanted to get approval for the well, and then I would go and spend the money with Peter to figure out, where the house would go, where the septic would go, where the well would go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the plan has to have that approval. You have to have, it doesn't have to be exact, but because of two reasons. One is they don't want your well to be near somebody else's septic within 75 feet. And of course, they don't want your well to be within 75 feet of your septic. So, and the wetlands. So you get all these constraints.
Right. And talking to Peter, he didn't see a problem with that. He thought we could fit that all in, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, you could probably pencil it in.
And exactly, that's what he said. He said, if you want me to, I could pencil in all of that.
Right.
Because again, I'm trying to not be charged for anything if I can't get the well, then I'm going to not purchase the land. So.
Yeah, this is something that planning and zoning needs to, my recommendation is that you sit down with Liz on this.
Okay.
And this is Terry. Didn't you, when we talked about this earlier, didn't you mention that there was a possibility of coming in with water from another direction from where the old Battlefield tank was?
Yeah, why couldn't we serve it from there? He's within spitting distance of where the tank is now. We've got a water line through the wetlands there already.
Do we have to go across the wetlands to get to his property? I thought.
No, I think the tank is on the far side of the wetlands, if I'm understanding the map right.
Okay, all right.
So we're already through.
Yeah, that's a good point, Stan. I saw that and I thought, oh, geez, this is fortuitous. We're going to go and we weren't going to tear up the pipe, but we were going to tear up the tank.
And I also thought there was an exception in the wetland laws for running water lines through wetlands.
Yes.
Because, for example, our tank in the center of town, they had to trench through wetlands to get to that tank.
That's correct. There are exceptions because, frankly, what is it going to do? Contaminate the wetlands with water?
Yeah, and I did mention that to Kyle, and I said, can I get something from you that says, because in talking with him, he said you cannot put a water line through that wetland. So I said, well, can I get something in writing from you? He said, no. Well, here's the easement, and that's also an attachment. He said the easement basically states you can't do it.
Huh. Yeah, I did see that. I didn't quite understand that myself.
Could we serve him from the town's existing property where the water tank is?
The question to be able to answer that question is, what is the town going to do with that property?
Yeah, that's a good question.
If they're going to sell it, they would the new owner would have to grant an easement.
Correct.
For water.
Right.
So that's possible. They do it easements for power lines, roads, and a water line would certainly be, it'd be typical. It wouldn't be atypical.
And I did have a question on the cost of the well. I saw the drilling report for 142. That well's 500 feet deep. That's got to be $20,000 plus to drill a well 500 feet deep. That would buy an awful lot of water line.
Yeah, we're talking a 2-inch plastic PVC pipe, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I'm just looking at, there's a 500-foot paved driveway and it just shows the well kind of running along the driveway. So, I assume they'd have to dig up and replace 500 feet of paved driveway. to
No,
install this water line.
I actually brought up that to Mike Cherry, one of the planning zoning guys. He said, no, he says, you can put that line right next to the driveway. Now, I don't know. And then he did say you could go underneath the culvert, the existing culvert. So, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be contractor here, but I think for the justification, you would probably have to look at that. I mean, the cost of a well is got to be 10 grand today. I don't know what the cost of a 500-foot line would be with a ditcher.
Yeah,
2-inch. I don't know.
I have not looked into that cost. I didn't look at the well at 142 close enough. I know that I had talked to a welling company and it's $6,000 for a 300-foot well. Didn't realize that other property had to go 500 feet. So yeah, that could be a much higher cost than I was anticipating.
Yeah,
And costed out the other option of coming from the area of the tank. I think that's maybe a cheaper option.
Yeah, that would be great. But again, if the town's going to sell that land, I guess it would already be in place, right? Because I'd be putting it in now, and I guess you wouldn't be selling the land anytime soon, right?
No,
Yeah,
we
it seems
can't.
to me that there'd be an easement on the property by the time the
new owner
town
takes it.
decided to sell it, and it would just
Right.
be already there.
Right. Well, that's
I
certainly a
think you have to
possibility.
consider the size of the main coming off the main, so that what feeds that tank or what the tank feeds to the main, if that's a larger pipe, like a 6-inch pipe or larger, you could be dealing with stagnant water. That's a concern too.
That's an 8-inch pipe, Bill,
That's
going
an
to that tank. So
That's
what the best way to do that is, if you're going to let them use that pipe, I would just pull a 2-inch through the pipe and
Yeah.
make a hole and then go to his property. And not use the existing cast iron pipe that's been there for how many years?
Yes, good.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's a lot of bends, elbows, T's, and other things, valves, that should work pretty easily. So, yeah, I mean, that's certainly, Stan, I agree. That's a better alternative for him because there'd be relatively a lot less cost than drilling a well.
And typically when we get these requests for a well, they give us an estimate on what it would cost to drill a well, vice what it would cost to run the pipe.
Right.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. So I guess if you guys could help me out, what would be the next step to figure this out?
Well, I would think you need to still go to planning and zoning. I don't know if they can help you and all that. The next thing I would do is get some rough estimates of what it would cost. You already got an estimate for the well. If you're going to say 300-foot well, $6,000, that sounds about right. However, you might want to talk to a well driller that's done wells for those homes around there, so they have more of a realistic cost.
Yeah.
And then maybe get a cost on a pipe and the other direction, up the road. But then there's another cost coming down from the tank. And we certainly would consider supplying you water from that side. Again, I would like to have a discussion with the town before we, make a commitment to it.
Okay.
If you want, we can meet you out there too to look at your options, to assist that, to find where that pipe is for the tank and where your property is, if you get a location where you think you're gonna go.
Oh, that'd be great. Appreciate that.
Yeah, the lucky thing for you is we weren't going to disturb that pipe. We're just going to tear the tank down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, right, Ray? We're just leaving that pipe in there.
Yeah, we're gonna plug the ends up and that was it. So
That was it.
So Ray, are you saying that you would just like use it as a conduit to run the smaller water line inside of it?
Yeah, because a 8-inch pipe with just one homeowner running it, you'll have some crappy water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess I'll start with Liz Burdick then.
Yes. Yeah, get with her because I want to make sure. I mean, they may just sign off on it and say, well, whatever you decide to do, and that's fine. Then we'll come up with some technical solution for you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time.
All right. Good. Thank you. All right. Good. All right. Next item, the LED lights. We'll have a discussion on this motion to approve the capital for light replacement program for all LED lights in the sewer plant after the WPCA receives $5,000 from Eversource. The total cost will be $6,116.85. Second. Okay. A side note on this. This does not have to go for bids. It's under $7,500.
One question.
Yes.
Do we have to wait? Why do we have to wait for the 5,000 from Eversource? We should have enough in capital to pay to do it and just put the 5,000 back into the capital so we can get it done sooner than later.
Yeah, I don't. Why was it specified this way? Yeah, so let me modify the motion. So the motion to approve the cap for light replacement program for all LED lights in the sewer plant under the Eversource program, LED light replacement program. So
with the cost of
$6,116.85.
And when the $5,000 grant is received from Eversource, it will be returned to the capital.
Yes.
Account.
I agree to that modification.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Isn't the contract amount going to be 11,000 and change?
That's exactly what I was worried about here.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, the net cost would be under the 7,500, but the contract amount's going to be in excess of that.
Yes, it is.
I have the same question, and I would say, why wouldn't you go to bid? Because Eversource doesn't have a reputation for having the best deal. The town actually went with another company to do their LED lighting. So it seems to me it would be a good idea to look around. I'm not saying Steve didn't, but if he didn't, we should.
The proposal, Ed, is for $11,129.85.
Correct. And that's right. Ordinance that calls for bids.
That calls for bids. And the other thing, Bill, is would the other companies give a $5,000 rebate? They probably won't.
I don't know, but you look at the bottom line. What does the town save? You go with the vendor that saves you the most. So yeah, you might get a 5,000 from one, but I don't recall the details of Tanko Lighting. But we did all the street lights in town, and we considered multiple bidders. And we were warned to stay away from Eversource. And I know this isn't Eversource, but they're an Eversource approved vendor.
Yeah, you're right. So, it's Artis Energy. Right. It's not Eversource. It's Artis Energy that's doing this. Yeah, this is a little bit complicated.
But isn't it through the Energy Efficiency Fund? And to do that, I think you have to work through Eversource.
Correct. You won't get the $5,000 from anybody else.
Correct.
This is Eversource giving us the $5,000.
Well, it's giving us our own money back. It's like a conservation charge you pay every month.
Right.
So what the town did, we purchased our street lights from Eversource, and they didn't want to let them go. It took a while, but we bought the street lights, and then you can put up anything you want and save more money. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
But we already own these lights. We already own these lights.
Yeah, we own them. We're getting rid. They're taking. It should be clear here. They're taking our old lights back. We're not disposing of them ourselves. They're actually. I don't know what they do with them. They're giving us a credit. They're taking all the old lights.
So WPCA owns the lights now?
Yes.
Okay.
These aren't street lights. These are lights inside the plant, right?
Correct. These are outdoor,
Oh, I see.
indoor, all
Okay,
lights.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, these are
So
all the
Still the
lights.
same question. Why wouldn't you go out to bid and see who's got a better offer? Because if these guys approached us, you have to say, who else is out there? And if Steve has already done the research and looked at companies and chosen this one, that's a different story.
Yeah, I don't know.
Typically, to tap into the energy efficiency fund, you have to go through Eversource. I know our church did that a few years ago, and you contact Eversource, and they only have a couple of vendors that they work with, and then they come and they give you the price. Otherwise, you don't get the rebate.
Got it. So it's worth asking the question about how it goes artists.
If we don't do it, then we're going to have to request a waiver from the town council of the purchasing ordinance.
Correct, probably because it's the sole source or close to it. You probably have to use
Which
their
is fine.
vendor.
And that's
What's
fine. We
what's
just
what's
have
the
to have the answer.
what's bid threshold now? I thought it was 15,000.
It's 7,500. There's a middle number, and then they have to get bids
3 quotes.
versus quote. Yep. Bids are sealed bids. Quotes are quotes.
But
And
what's
under that, I think you're okay. 7,500, you're okay.
yeah, but what's the point between 7,500 and what you only have to get quotes?
I can't remember, Sean.
I think it's
I'll have to look at the
15,000.
ordinance.
I think it's 15,000, and if it's 15,000, we don't have to go out to bid. We have to get quotes.
Ooh, and that's
You
exactly
may
what
be
he
right.
did.
I just don't remember.
Well, you're a council person. You're the one that's supposed to remember.
Jeez. All right, I'm gonna go look it up. You guys hang right there. I'm gonna go look.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we only have one more motion. We're done.
I'll ask Roxanne.
Well, I mean, this makes a difference because if we obviously can't approve this motion even if we need to get quotes because we need to get quotes.
Right.
So my suggestion is Ed is to just withdraw the motion
We're going to withdraw and table it. Okay.
and we'll pick it back up hopefully next month. But
Right.
first we need to get the answer to my question.
Right.
And then we will know if we have to go out to bid or have to get quotes or if we want to request a bid waiver.
Okay, so let's just move on. We will table that motion until we understand bids, quotes, or waiver. I don't know. I'm almost sure that Steve, when he talked to me about it, this is what Stan mentioned. It was the energy efficiency. They actually showed him how much money he would save per year in electricity, which was about $5,000 a year. That's astounding.
And you also save a lot in maintenance because you don't have to replace the LED bulbs like you do the fluorescents.
Right. But that's a significant savings, guys, in our costs.
Correct. That's why we want to move on it next month. So we need
Just sooner the better.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So done with that. Now, item 6 is a motion to approve use of capital for replacement of stand in the outside absorption beds. It's a total of 425 tons at $17.45 a ton. That's delivered price. Rawson Materials, formerly Cherenzia Sand and Gravel from Wesley, will be contract for the job for the total cost of $7,416.25.
Second.
That's second. Now, this is under $7,500, so I don't think we have to go out for
Just
bid.
barely.
Or I know. I don't know how they work that out, but I don't want to know. Hey, we're getting something done that we absolutely needed done. And this brings up a question for the discussion. We got the motion on the table. I believe this is, we're going to pay this out of capital funds. To be honest with you guys, this is a legitimate expense. Sand replacement should never be capitalized. I mean, that's my understanding of Economics 101. So in the future, we really should be budgeting for this. So if we replace sand every 5-10 years, we need to be putting money away for expenses that we have to pay every 5 or 10 years.
Then you're making it capital when you put the money aside for it.
Well, yeah, but it's truly an operating expense, isn't it?
Well, how often do you do it?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. That's I
If
don't
you're
know.
only doing it every few years, it's capital.
Right.
I didn't think it was a number of years, but okay. All right.
well, it is, operating expense is something you're gonna use in that operating budget.
Yeah, every year.
Capital is something that you don't do every year.
No, and you don't do this every year unless you do.
I don't ever remember us doing it, so I think
Yeah,
it's been
I mean,
a long time.
It's been a long time. You're right. It has been a very long time. And we need to protect those beds. We don't want them to plug. All right. Well, that's just a point. I stand corrected. You're right. I don't even know how long. Steve doesn't even remember how long we haven't done it. So it's been a long time. Are there any other discussions on this? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the motion to use the replacement of sand from Terenza Sand for $7,416.25 signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? Hearing none, it's approved. I don't have any other business, so we can adjourn.
So before you
Yeah.
go, it's 15,000. Above
Oh,
15,000.
I was
is
right.
good. Under 15,000 is close. Yes, you are.
So what does that mean, Bill? We just get a quote?
You have to get
Get
3
3 quotes.
quotes.
3 quotes. Okay. Thank you. Got it.
So you just have to contact 3 people and get 3 quotes.
The move we adjourn.
Yep, second.
So moved. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care. Stay
Happy
safe.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy
Okay.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah. See if I get it. I'm sharing. Okay. Thank you, honey.
I'm trying to find the check.
She did.